Welcome. In this lesson, I will go over how AWS CLI tool works, what is its syntax, and how can we use this tool to create, modify, delete any AWS resource that you can think of. Now, this lesson is not only useful for cloud database administration, this lesson is equally useful if you are a cloud engineer, cloud architect, or cloud DevOps engineer. After watching this lesson, I am confident by saying that you will prefer this tool over AWS console for your day-to-day cloud operations. So just pay attention for a couple of minutes and you will be on your way managing your cloud infrastructure with this tool. So let's go over its syntax. At its core, all the AWS CLI command start with the keyword AWS followed by AWS service. Okay. Now these are the options. We can use these options, but at the core AWS service, and then the verb on the component of this within this service, and then the parameters that verb component has. Let me go over this with you. So AWS is the keyword. Options like global options, like what kind of output do you want? Do you want the output in the JSON, in the table, or text? By default, by the way, it is JSON. Service EC2. Okay, so now under service EC2, it looks like maybe EC2 mean only under this service we can manage EC2 instances. No, EC2 is a broad service and there are a lot of components that fall under this service, like a VPC, subnet mask, internet gateway, route table, subnets, everything. Most likely those are related to the networks. That services, that components fall under EC2 service. And then the parameter mean for this component, what are the parameters to apply on this component? Now let me elaborate a little bit here. One of the services I mentioned, EC2, there are so many services. RDS, configure, IAM, DMS, ECS, DMS, data migration service, Elastic container service, EKS, Elastic Kubernetes service. You can manage AWS EKS through this one. ELB, if you want to create any Elastic load balancer. S3, we have done that. System notification services, system management services, a lot of services, and then each service has its own components, and those components can be managed by the verbs. Verbs, I mean like actions we can do on those components, like create. We can create those components, we can associate them, we can attach them, delete them, modify them, describe them, start them, stop them. This should be stop, run them. So not all like start and stop will not work on VPC component, right? This will be only applicable to the instance, right? Like run is the instance, right? But a modify we can do. So these are the verbs that we do on the components. Now what are the components? Components you can think of VPS, VPC, route table, route, a subnet group, parameter group, security group, internet gateway, EC2 instance itself, a key pair. Okay, and then the parameters, like for example, if I want to create a VPC, like these, there will be some parameters required for the VPC component to be created, and one of them is CIDR block. That what should be the CIDR block of this VPC? Okay, if I want to create a route table, what should be the route table ID, a route table name? Route, I want to create a route, that should be a inbound rule or outbound rule for this route. Subnet, like subnet creating across multi AZs, or creating a subnet within a VPC network. Subnet group. So we can create, we can modify, we can delete all these components under these services. Like for, if we talk about RDS service will have components related to the relation and data services. Okay, so here is the example. For example, if I ask you to go ahead and create a VPC, okay, we will use exactly the same syntax. First, start with the AWS. Is there any global option you want to change from default JSON to? Let's go ahead and change it to output table. Okay, what service? EC2. Under EC2, what do you want to do? I want to create a VPC. This is create is a verb. Okay, what are the parameters? The parameter is a CIDR block for this VPC. And do you want to have a Amazon provided IPv6 CIDR block for this VPC? No. So this is the example. This will create a VPC through AWS CLI tool. You don't have to go to management console and you don't have to click. Okay, and right there, if you simply just type AWS CLI documentation, the very first one, you will see this page. Okay, forget about these two. These are for the previous version. Forget about this one. This one is SDK. If you have a like a language, Python, Ruby, C, you want to do this software development kit, we are not interested, especially in this course or in this section for this. So forget about that. Forget about user guide. This is how you install that. We have already gone through that. You want to look at the command reference. Okay, and this is what I was talking about. I got all this from reading all this through all this, and I made it very easy for you just in one picture. Okay, but let me go through quickly there. Synopsis, what the syntax should look like. Global options, I already gone through. These are the global options. Like I pick one of those output. Okay, what are the available services? Imagine that with the AWS CLI tool, you can go through all, you can manage any of these services. Look at that. Look at this. All of these. And we only picked ELB, ECS, EC2, and DMS, and these are the only the AWS configure. We only pick these. But if you, for example, let me go to EC2, right? And if you click on this service, these are all the available commands. They call this command, but to make it easy, I just call this component. These are all the components. Like for example, I want to manage an image of a EC2. So this is the verb. If you see, these are all the verbs: accept, allocate, assign, attach, create, modify, delete. So you got the picture, right? This AWS has made it so easy to manage this AWS CLI tool. So this is all we have. These are all the components, and the components, or you can call this available commands, but to make it easy to understand, these are the components that you attach verb with them. And then let's say, for example, if I want to create a key pair, right? If you want to create a key pair, and then this is AWS EC2 create key pair, and what are the requirement, what are the parameters, anything that has with these brackets, these are all optionals. The only thing that is required to create a key pair is just the key name, and this is the value. To make it more easy, just click on examples on this documentation and you will see a real world example. This only this one line: AWS service, verb, component, parameter, boom, and that is your key. You don't have to go to AWS console. So I hope that this basic understanding of how AWS tool works, you can manage the whole AWS cloud using only this one. And this is what our actually requirements are. We are going to use this tool only, and we are going to create a VPC, internet gateway, subnets, attach them. We will restore a RDS, create a RDS instance, and much more. And I hope that this lesson has been informative for you, and I will see you in action in the next lesson.